Hello friends and welcome to this video on Authentic English, and in this video we are going to talk about the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Before we begin with the summary and analysis of this poem, I'd like you to subscribe to my channel if you've not already done so, because I'm going to post videos on literature regularly that might help you a lot in your studies. So let's begin with our explanation of the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers was published in 1951 as a part of the collection A Change of World by the American poet and feminist Adrienne Cecile Rich. So this poem was published in 1951 in the collection known as A Change of the World. And of course we know that this poem was written by American poet Adrienne Cecile Rich. Now what we do not know is that Adrienne Cecile Rich happens to be a feminist. Okay, so she has written a lot of poetry that concerns women and their empowerment. Okay, so she is a person who wants women to be empowered and not women to be someone, who is downtrodden in the patriarchal society. So she works actively for women's rights. Adrienne Rich is considered to be a very important poet of the 20th century. Okay, so she has got a lot of awards and is considered to be an important American poet of the 20th century. She has written not only on women's rights but also on LGBT issues, so lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender issues. She has also based her work upon these issues. Okay, so she wants that these people from different sexes, okay, of course, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and also women, she works for the right of all these people. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers features strong themes in women empowerment. It is a poem that asserts the issues women face for being women. So, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is another poem that features how that talks about how women are let down in a male-dominated patriarchal society. Okay, so it's in the form of a story, like a story is told through the poem, and through that, Adrienne addresses the issues that women face in the patriarchal society, and by this she hopes that by writing all of this she is going to be able to make a change and empower women. So one of the themes of this poem is the status of women and how she can empower women further. It is a poem that asserts the issues women face for being a woman. Okay, so there is no mistake that a woman has committed except the fact that she is a woman in the patriarchal society, and that is why most of the times she is let down. So we'll get to know this when we move further on with our poem. So let me first give you a basic summary of the poem and tell you what the poem is all about. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers talks about a tapestry. So first of all, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers is a poem, of course, about a woman called Aunt Jennifer. Okay, so we do not know who this Aunt Jennifer is, but she is just mentioned as Aunt Jennifer, perhaps to give us an impression that Aunt Jennifer is some woman that the readers also know. So Aunt Jennifer's Tigers talks about a tapestry, piece of thick fabric with designs embroidered on it, made by a woman called Aunt Jennifer. So the basic idea of the poem begins with that a woman called Aunt Jennifer has embroidered some designs on a tapestry. Okay, so what sort of a design is this? We get to know that she has embroidered some tigers on this tapestry or this piece of tough fabric. Okay, in the tapestry are shown tigers prancing across it, or in other words, she embroidered pictures of brave tigers on the fabrics through her artistic sense. Now this woman, of course, is interested in art, so she must be a good artist in that she is able to make such designs on the tapestry. So she is kind of an artist. She has an artistic sense, and she is able to make these designs of tigers who are shown to be very brave and who are shown to be prancing on this tapestry. Prancing means, jumping or leaping about on the tapestry. So she has created these designs. The poet says that Aunt Jennifer is not free and fearless as the tigers because of being born a woman. Now what the poet says is that although she has created tigers, tigers are brave animals, although she has created these tigers who look very brave in that tapestry, this woman known as Aunt Jennifer is not very brave. She is definitely not as free as those tigers she has embroidered. Okay, so what the poet means to say is that she is free only in her art, and she is not free in real life. In real life, she is not like the tigers she has embroidered. And she tells the reason as well. She had an unhappy wedding which restricted her life and freedom and did not give her the freedom she wanted to have. It's because of the wedding. Probably her husband is very strict and her husband does not allow her the freedom she wants to have. So her life is kind of restricted. Her wedding was very unhappy. This is what is told in the poem. So a clear message is given out that the man is dominating the woman. Okay, so the society is patriarchal and women have to, you know, subvert in front of men. Women cannot do anything. So this is shown that Aunt Jennifer does not have the freedom that the tiger she has embroidered have because of her unhappy wedding, because of the husband that she has got. The speaker further says that even after her death, Aunt Jennifer will continue to suffer, but the tigers on the tapestry will prance bravely and keep signifying her brave spirit. Now, this poem ends on a very beautiful message that even after her death, Aunt Jennifer is going to continue to suffer. Okay, Aunt Jennifer is not going to be free until her death, and even after death, she is not really going to be free. She's never going to be able to get the freedom she wanted to have. So even after death, she is not going to be enjoy anything. But the tigers that she has created on the tapestry will always prance bravely and keep signifying her brave spirit. So this poem ends on a positive note that these tigers that she has drawn on the tapestry are going to signify her brave spirit. That although that she was restricted, she did not give up her hobby. Okay, so she made time for her hobby, she made time for her art and drew these tigers. So these tigers are going to signify her brave spirit. That although living in a society which was dominated by men, she definitely had that spirit to go on with her art. Her art will immortalize her. So another theme of the poem is immortalization, that her art is going to immortalize her and be like an achievement people shall remember after she is no more. Okay, so this is going to be like an achievement people shall remember even after she is no more. So art immortalizes people. This is one of the things that the poem says. Okay, so now let's just move ahead and go with the stanza wise explanation of this poem. Okay, let's begin with stanza number 1. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across the screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree, they pace in sleek chivalric certainty. So first of all, we see that the poem begins by Aunt Jennifer's tigers. Okay, so we do not get to know anything about this Aunt Jennifer, and the poet and the narrator gives us the impression that Aunt Jennifer is a person that we all know. Okay, so we have to just think of Aunt Jennifer as a person. And Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across our screen. So at first we may wonder if Aunt Jennifer has pet tigers with her, but no. We get to know only later that Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen. Okay, so this screen is the tapestry. That means Aunt Jennifer has embroidered some tigers on a tapestry that are shown to be prancing. Prancing means to move about in long jumping movements. You can imagine that tigers are jumping on a tapestry, they have been drawn. So you can imagine it all in your mind. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Now topaz is a, gem. And so the tigers also are bright yellow, just like that. Topaz. Bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Denizens means inhabitants, residents. Okay, so the tigers are brightly colored, and they contrast with the green background in which they are living. So the background is grassy and green, full of trees, etc., and the tigers contrast with it. The tigers are bright yellow, just like the topaz. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. So there might be some men beneath the tree where the tigers are, but the tigers do not fear anyone. Okay, so the tigers that she has embroidered on the tapestry are very brave. Okay, so they do not fear anyone. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. And these tigers move about in royalty in a grand way. They're not afraid of anyone. Okay, so they are certain, they are full of nobility, and they move about. These tigers are grand. They do not have any fear. They are free. Okay, so let me read out what I've written. The poem begins by introducing Aunt Jennifer as a person whom we all probably know. Okay, so we do not get to know anything about the poem, and the narrator definitely wants to give us the impression that we all know this person. There's no introduction, but a name straightforwardly appears. Okay, we further get to know something about her tigers. Actually, the speaker refers to the tigers embroidered by Aunt Jennifer on a tapestry. Okay, so these tigers are the tigers that she has embroidered on a tapestry, a thick fabric that can be used sometimes as a wall hanging. So tapestry is a thick fabric, okay, that can be sometimes used as a wall hanging. The tigers made by Aunt Jennifer are bright in color like the topaz. So these tigers made by Aunt Jennifer are brightly colored. Okay, so these tigers are very bright yellow in color like the topaz. That is, they are bright yellow and contrast with their grassy green background, and they are shown to prance or move about playfully on the tapestry. And these tigers are shown to be prancing or moving about freely on the tapestry, and they contrast with the green background. So the tigers are shown to be very brave creatures. The speaker now draws upon the tigers and tells us that the tigers are fearless and they do not fear anyone. So the tigers are brave, the tigers do not fear anyone. The tigers are 100% free. The tigers move about with style and honor. Okay, so the tigers are moving about with style and honor, sleek, chivalric, certainty. So this was the first paragraph wherein we get to know what sort of tigers these are and where Aunt Jennifer has drawn them. Now let's move to paragraph number 2. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Now, in this poem, in this stanza, we get to know a lot more details about Aunt Jennifer. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. So, while Aunt Jennifer is working on a tapestry, using needles, she's doing some needlework on the tapestry, her fingers are fluttering. That means her fingers are kind of shaking and trembling. Okay, find the ivory needle hard to pull, and she is finding it hard to pull the needle out and in. That means to say that Aunt Jennifer is actually nervous. Aunt Jennifer is not free as the tigers that she has drawn. Okay, so she has drawn tigers that look very free, but in actual life, in real life, Aunt Jennifer's hands shake while she works on the tapestry. Okay, so she's scared, she's nervous. She's not a free woman. This is what is implied in this stanza. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So this is a metonymy, whereas we are using the wedding band for symbolizing the wedding, when you use an object for symbolizing the whole thing. So wedding band symbolizes marriage. So this tells us the massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. So what is told to us here? That her marriage was unhappy, and the weight of the wedding band is so heavy that it is sitting like a heavy weight upon her hand, and that is making her hands quiver. But this is just literally. On a metaphorical level, it tells us that Aunt Jennifer has had an unhappy marriage. Okay, so she is not satisfied with her marriage. Her marriage is something that has restricted all her freedom. Probably she has got a husband who is very dominating and who does not care for her or her talents, and that is why Aunt Jennifer has become a weak person. Aunt Jennifer has scared. Okay, she's finding the ivory needle hard to pull. Her fingers are finding the ivory needle hard to pull. So this is what is told to us, that the society is patriarchal and men are dominating women. The speaker tells us that Aunt Jennifer's hands quivers as she works with the needle on a tapestry. On a literal level, she tells it's the heavy wedding band that makes her hands shake. But on a metaphorical level, she implies that Aunt Jennifer is a woman who is not free and independent because of her unhappy marriage. So because of her husband and because of her unhappy marriage, she is not free. She is scared while she is doing all this work. The marriage has taken a toll on Aunt Jennifer since it can be inferred she has got a dominating and unsupporting husband. So we can imply that she has got a husband who is unsupporting and dominating. It's due to this that Aunt lives in fear and her hands quiver while she pursues her hobby. So needlework might be her hobby, and that is the reason. Because of her unhappy marriage, her hands quiver and she lives in fear, okay, as she pursues her hobby. Aunt Jennifer, living in a male-dominated society, clearly is not as free as the tiger she has embroidered. So we get a contrast between the tigers that she has drawn and herself. Her tigers are free and brave, but she is not free and brave at all. She is living in a male-dominated patriarchal society, and that is why she has to, follow the norms, or she cannot do anything. So this is what is implied in the stanza. One can also think that perhaps the reason why she is drawing tigers, because perhaps she wanted to have the freedom that the tigers have, but her marriage is preventing her from doing so. Let's move on now to the last stanza of the poem. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. Now the poem takes a very serious turn. It talks about the death of Aunt Jennifer. Okay, so the narrator wants to say that only after Aunt Jennifer is dead. No, that means that Aunt Jennifer is going to, suffer till she dies. And even after she's dead, she is not going to get a happy life. So this is what is told in this stanza. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still ringed with ordeal she was mastered by. That is, the wedding band is going to still lie in her hands. Okay, so the marriage is going to continue to take a toll on her even after she dies. So it implies that till she's dead, she's not going to get any freedom, and even after her death, freedom is going to be scarce. She's still going to be dominated. So in all her life that she is going to have, she will never be able to realize the freedom that she wants to have. The tigers in the panel that she has made will go on prancing, proud and afraid. But the tigers that she has drawn on the tapestry are going to immortalize her in a certain sense, because even after she is dead, the tigers in the panel are going to live, and they're going to be the same way. They're going to be the they're going to be brave in the same way. They're going to prance in the same way. So these brave tigers are going to signify her brave spirit, that even by living in this male dominated society, she did not, give up her hobby. She at least pursued it, even though she was afraid of doing so. So these tigers are always going to, immortalize her, always going to signify her brave spirit. So it draws upon the theme that art can immortalize the artist. The poem becomes serious in tone. Aunt Jennifer says the speaker will be wearing the wedding band even after her death. Her death even will not be able to rid her of her troubles. So even death is not going to be able to rid her of all her troubles. Okay, she is living in a male dominated society. So even death is not going to just clear all of her troubles. Clearly, her marriage was very bad. She faces a tormenting existence in this patriarchal society. However, in the last two lines, the speaker tells that the tigers made by her are going to be free and unafraid all the time. Even after she dies, her embroidered tigers will continue to speak about her and, in a certain sense, immortalize Aunt Jennifer. There's a clear contrast between the ant and the tigers. We can say that the tigers represent her will to be free and unafraid. Why she drew these tigers? Because she perhaps wanted to be free like these tigers, but she could not be. So she drew these tigers. So she expressed that in her work of art. Since she could not do that in the real world, she puts that spirit into her artwork. Or in her all her ordeals, her needlework, that is her art, was an escape from all of it. Or perhaps she drew because her art, her hobby, offered an escape from the harsh realities of life. So we can infer it both ways. Okay, now let's just see the major themes in the poem. The status of women, of course. Adrienne Rich wants that women should be given equal status. She is criticizing the patriarchal society in a certain sense, because women are not given any importance in it. Women are treated as to be inferior creatures, which is not at all correct. Art talks about art, how art can give an escape to a person who is low. Art can make a person feel better, and art can also immortalize the artist. And immortality, of course, it talks about how art can immortalize the artist. So these are the major themes in the poem. I hope you understand it. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye and take care.